Roll for Crit here to give you our preview of the game that is on Kickstarter now called Guards of Atlantis II from Wolf Designer. This is the successor to Guards of Atlantis, a MOBA-style tabletop game in which two teams compete. One team is comprised of the Atlanteans, and the other is the Titans. And the two are battling for control of Atlantis. You're going to be partnered up with possibly one or more players. Each of you will have your own hero, and you're going to be attempting to win a few different ways, either by taking out the other team's heroes a certain number of times, by pushing through to their base, or if a certain amount of time runs out and the game just keeps on going, then whoever has won the latest push, which we'll explain in a minute, will win the game.
That's right. As you can see from the board here, these lovely minis, the way you're going to play with them is with these boards. The boards are all similar, it just has their art on them. It's really the cards that are unique. In this game, there really isn't any drawing of a card, rolling dice. There's no luck. It's all about choosing what cards you play. You're going to start off with 5 cards. That's going to be a silver and gold card, and these red, blue, and green cards. The reason you differentiate them is because throughout the game, you'll be actually leveling up your red, blue, and green card, while your gold and silver will stay constant throughout the entire game. Each turn, without discussing afterwards, you're going to have to decide which card you're going to play, and you'll put it face down. Once everyone has, you'll flip them over. Now, that number in the top left corner is initiative. That will tell you when you go in the turn order. So right now, this character, Dodger, will be triggering before Sabina. You can use the actual text on the card, which is usually an attack or a skill. You can also use it for movement, which is moving that number of spaces. There's a defense value, but we'll talk about that a little later. That's only used in response. If you are in a sector with enemies, you move that many steps. If you were, say, like Sabina, who's far away from the battle right now, you can use it to fast travel. Now let's actually get to the attacking. You can either attack a hero or a minion. These larger ones that you can see here are actually untargetable unless all the other minions on the team have been killed. Everything on the board has 1 life. If you can get past its defenses, you kill it. If it's a minion, it leaves the board and you get some gold, which you can use a little bit later. Or if it's a hero, it returns to their spawn point. Depending on how much they've upgraded, they lose a certain number of these life tokens. And if you can clear all those life tokens, as we said earlier, that's a win condition. Now, attacking here, for example, this says it's 3 attack with a range of 1. In order to defend against 3 attack, Sabina could discard this card that has 4 defense. You just need to match it. Should you defend it off, this card is discarded. The card played returns to whichever turn it was played in. Now that this card has been played, this is where the sort of tactics of the game can really take it up a notch, because you know this is her fastest card. You know that what's in her hand doesn't really rotate. When she levels up, it's still like an attack card. It might be a little bit stronger, but she will only ever have 2 attacks. So one of them is done. You know you've gotten that out of her hand. And let's say for whatever reason, she decided to play her Shield of Decay for movement. You know that also her defense card is out too. So it's all about trying to sort of bait people to play certain cards or maybe discard cards, because if they do defend an attack, like let's say this was used to defend, I don't have a choice for the last card I play. So I'm going to be stuck with that. Hell, if I have to defend twice, I'm not going to be able to defend at all. So there's going to be this really interesting back and forth of how do you use your cards efficiently to maybe try to make your opponent discard through defense or other means, or maybe at least make sure that they don't have an option on their 3rd and 4th turns.
Now, throughout the game, you'll be gaining coins by defeating minions or other heroes, and at the end of a round, once everyone has played through their 4 cards, their 4 turns, you'll have the chance to level up using those coins. So on the side of your board, there's a little tracker that shows you exactly how much it costs to level up, and if you have enough to level up, you must spend those coins. If you don't have enough, you'll get 1 pity coin as a consolation prize, which is nice, and hopefully you'll be able to next round. But leveling up is pretty simple. Basically, you start with 5 cards, and as we said, some of those cards you'll be able to upgrade as the game goes on. And in your deck, there are Tier 2 and Tier 3 versions of those 3 different colors of cards, the red, blue, and green. And once you get to Tier 2, if you level up once, then you can choose one of the 3, decide which of those Tier 2s that you like, and now you replace your original card, your Tier 1 card of that color, with that new one in your hand. Now, the card that you didn't choose, you're always going to have two options, goes underneath your board in a certain position depending on what symbol it's showing. And you're not going to be able to use it in your hand, but it will provide you with a future boost to either your defense, your attack, your initiative, some kind of permanent effect that will improve your character overall as the game goes on. As you continue leveling up, you'll eventually be able to access those tier 3 cards to make your hand even more powerful. And then finally, you have an ultimate card, which is if you get through all the other levels, and that's just your super card that's extremely powerful. And by the time you get to that, you're probably pretty close to the end of the game, but that could really turn the tides in your favor if you use it properly.
And you'll have a sector full of minions. You'll usually start off like this, but if one side loses all their minions, like so, all of them push to the next sector, regardless of how many there are, and you reset at these spawn points. This is the way you can win through the pushing condition, killing enough of your opponent's minions before they kill yours. So that's pretty much how the game is going to play. It's all about deciding how do you level up your cards, how do you deal with your opponents, and that leveling up, it's not simply just which power do I like more. Those bonus items Jonathan mentioning could make the difference. You may be seeing someone who's playing very offensively, like, I'm going to get more of these defensive bonuses to try and make it harder for him to hit me. Or if, for example, you notice everyone's maybe spread out a little more, you want to make sure you can get a bit more of an advantage. You might go for initiative, or even some of them are different, unique, like range and radius.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting choices like that with the cards. Even, like we said, just on your turn, you can only do one thing with the card. So you have to decide, should I use this for my attack? Or maybe I'm afraid someone else is going to attack me later and I'd rather save it for defense. Or it has a really powerful skill that I'd like to use. And of course, a lot of it too is teamwork. Like I said, you have at least one teammate, and you're allowed to discuss. It has to be open, so the other team has to be able to hear what you're saying. But before you play, before you put your card down, you can talk to each other and say, I'm going to do this, you go here, I should do this, you do that. And that can really affect you, especially depending on what type of hero your partner is playing as. You know, there's definitely a lot of different possibilities for synergies and combos between all the different hero types.
However, after that period, you're not allowed to discuss strategy. So once the game is in motion, so let's say you played a card that could either move or attack, your partner cannot tell you, I really want you to move to this spot to block something, for example. You have to try to guess that on your own. It's really all about trying to also read what the other players are trying to do, because you probably don't want to give your entire strategy out in that earlier discussion period.
Yeah, like we said earlier, one of the things that I think is cool about this game is that you technically should at all times have very good knowledge of what your partner and opponents have in their hand and what their potential plays are. And like we said, once they have a card down, you know they can't play that for the rest of the round. So there really is no randomness or luck in this game. If you're paying attention and you know the decks decently well, even if you don't know them that well, like, you really just need to remember 5 major card types. You can keep track of those things, and you can play that to your advantage by paying attention to what everyone's doing at any given time.
Yeah, this is definitely a game that rewards you for multiple playthroughs. And in particular, because, as you said, it's like a MOBA, each of the heroes play differently. And the first one you may pick, you may not really enjoy that much. But if you try some other ones and start playing them more, you'll have a lot more fun. I actually am a big fan of Dodger, after messing around a little bit more games. She was not the first character I played with. But afterwards, when I played with her, I enjoyed it because she has this whole zoning mechanic about rewarding empty minion spots, which pretty much means that if the enemy actually kills your team's minions, you're sort of helping her. So she's all for that. Let me take out this nice large stack of other heroes they sent with us. So they have plenty of options for you for whatever playstyle you want.
Yeah, the way that it works is there's a base set, which I believe comes with 7 heroes, and that's for $60. And then you can add on extra hero packs. I think you can see the Kickstarter page to see all the different prices and bundles you can get with them. But each of those hero packs comes with 5 additional ones. So yeah, even just in the base, I think there's a really good assortment of different characters.
And if you've ever said, like, you or maybe someone you know is like, man, if only I got the right card draw, the dice didn't roll the way. maybe this is the game you want because, like I said, there is no randomness. Any mistakes that happen, they're on you.
That is true. Now, we hadn't played the original Guards of Atlantis, but they have a full list of changes on the Kickstarter page you can check out. I know they overhauled a lot of like the way that the respawning works, the level up costs, the heroes. I think a lot of them are the same from the base, the same characters, but they've completely redone how a lot of their cards work, balance them out differently. So it really is a new game that they suggest. Like, they don't really have an upgrade pack for this. I think there's like a sort of a thing that you can play with some newer rules if you have the original game, but really you want to replace the old game with this one. It's like, it's that much of a difference.
Yeah, before this video, you and I discussed actually the exact wording we should use. It's not really it's not
like a new edition.
Yeah, that's why we decided on successor. It's meant to be the new one on the shelf.
Right, which is nice. It's got a 2 in it, so I think it's appropriate.
That is
again, it's Guards of Atlantis II, and that'll be on Kickstarter right now. And yeah, if you like the MOBA style of games and you're looking for something that's very strategic and doesn't have any luck in it, something you may want to check out. We'll have a link in the description right down below. You can let us know what you think in the comments section if you're backing this, or if you played the original one, what you think about it, or if you have a particular hero that you prefer.
Oh yeah, I'd love to hear who people like. Though I know there has been some playtesting, so things may change here and there for how some of the heroes work, but overall they are still very interesting and unique.
Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Roll for Crit.
Never miss out by liking and subscribing, and you can also check out more on our Patreon.
We do weekly podcasts on Patreon. Don't you want to sign up and hear more of our voices?